What's up, y'all? It's your guy, eBay Fight Predictions in the building. And this is your Sodiq Yusuff versus Edson Barboza. Break down a phenomenal fight in the featherweight division. I love this main event. It's going to be a barn burner. These guys are going to go at it and scrap, baby. Obviously, let me take the gum out. Let me throw this away. Put it in the trash can. Slam dunky, baby. But, like I'm saying though, great fight, barn burn. I know these guys are gonna meet in the middle and fucking scrap, man. And I really fucking can't wait for that. It's gonna be a really good fight. I truly believe it. Obviously, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Edson Barboza. He has smoked my boy Shane Burgos and Dan Hooker, so he forever will be an op to eBay Fight Predictions. Every day I see him, I want him shot. But besides that, though, no ill will towards Edson. He is fucking, and he's looking super jacked on a lot of fucking steroids, motherfucker. So, shame on him. But my main point is, I think it's going to be a fucking good fight. Some people might not be a fan of this main event, but I think it's going to be a good fight. And whenever you have Edson Barboza in a fucking fight night main event, it's going to be a barn burner. And Sodiq Yusuff has shown to not be too much of a boring fighter. He's on a 2-fight win streak right now. Caceres and then Don Shannis. And he choked the guy out, so in impressive fashion. And you know what? Sodiq Yusuff has always been primed up for this moment to be showcased in this kind of spotlight, and he's had his opportunities, right, where he kind of faltered, and he had a lot of hype kind of going into 2018 to 2019, right, and then in 2020, and I think that all kind of got halted when he fought Arnold Allen, right, and he kind of got, you know, thrown to the shed, basically, kind of got thrown to the back burner. And now I think this is the apex of his moment. He's entering his prime, and I think this is a moment for him to really showcase who he is against an aging contender who still shows that explosive ability, but I do not think he is the elite top 10 lightweight that he used to be. I just don't. And obviously he's at a lower weight class, so that does tell you something about him. But I think Sodiq Yusuff has been waiting for a moment like this to shine. He hasn't truly shined, in my humble opinion, and I think this is his moment to shine. I truly believe that. I know a lot of people. I get it. He's chinny, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people are looking at. And Edson Barboza is explosive, and when you have a chinny guy and an explosive guy, that usually leads to a KO. And I understand that thought process, but I do truly believe Sodiq Yusuff is going to mix it up in here. I think the wrestling and the striking that he's going to present to Edson, I think is going to be a big problem for him. And I just do not think Edson, at 37 years old, is the same guy that fucking beat up on Dan Hooker, that beat up on Anthony Pettis. You know what I'm saying? That same guy that was number 4 in the world, you know? I just don't. The guy that had that crazy fight with Tony Ferguson, I don't even think he's the same guy that beat up Shane Burgos. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. So yeah, that's just my humble opinion. But obviously, let's look at the stats. Sodiq Yusuff comes a record of 13-2. Is fighting out of Maryland, aged 30 years old, a height of 5'9", and reach 71. Edson Barboza comes a record of 23-11. Is fighting out of Florida, aged 37 at 145 pounds. Big number right there. A height of 5'11" and reach of 75. So obviously, Edson's going to be the longer guy, but he's normally always the longer guy. The jab is going to be really important for Edson, and the leg kicks. But obviously, we've seen in Sodiq's last fight, he's not scared to throw his own leg kicks. So it's going to be a battle. Edson, I mean, he has a resume that is known. Hold on. Sorry for the interruption, but like I'm saying, Edson's resume is known, right? He's fought a who's of the division. His last fight against Billy Quarantillo, let me kind of talk about that. I mean, Billy Quarantillo is asking to get kneed in the face. His chin was a magnet for that knee. I mean, he's a durable guy, decent wrestler. He's a scrappy guy, but he just was picture made for Edson. And I told you guys that was going to kind of happen. I did say fucking Edson was going to smoke that guy. But yeah, great win in that respect. But look at the guys he's fucking fought. Let's talk about all the guys he's beaten. I mean, went over Danny Castillo. Obviously has that loss to I mean, not even, let's talk about the dating stuff. The Terry Edom fight, the wheel kick that is known around the world, the wheel kick that everyone fucking talks about. He smoked Terry Edom, and I mean, he fucking had a fucking rocket ship to his career after that, and he kind of became somebody. But wins over Danny Castillo. He has that loss to Donald Cerrone, obviously, where he got knocked down and choked out. But wins over Evan Dunham. Bobby Green has a loss to Michael Johnson. Beat Paul Felder, then lost to Tony Ferguson. So he's always been on that kind of weird stretch where wins, loses. But then he probably went on his most impressive win streak was over Anthony Pettis, Gilbert Melendez, and Beneil Dariush in a crazy knee that smoked him, that has aged phenomenally for him since then. I mean, obviously we've seen what Benny's done. I know Benny's coming off a loss to Charles Oliveira, but I mean, Benny's a top 5 lightweight now, and I mean, it's aged. It's a great win for him. He has a loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov and Kevin Lee, and these are the kind of fights, especially let me talk to the Kevin Lee fight. I mean, Sodiq Yusuff, I feel like a lot of people kind of look at him as a striker, but real talk, his ace card is his wrestling and his primarily his jiu-jitsu, but he's a physical guy, and he knows how to out-muscle guys. And Kevin Lee isn't the greatest wrestler of all time. I think we've seen how that kind of, his wrestling has played out. I mean, as a lightweight, he had the size advantage. That's what helped him a lot. But we saw him at welterweight where his wrestling really did lie in that division. He just was not a real welterweight. And you saw guys were able to, deal with his wrestling effectively, right? But we saw with Kevin, who we've seen his career play out the way it's played out, right? We saw that if you can put pressure on Edson and you wrestle him at moments, you break him down. And that's just been, I think, kind of the blueprint to beating him. Obviously, after the Kevin Lee fight, he had the Dan Hooker fight. I have not rewatched this fight, and I plan on never rewatching this fight because fuck that fight. You guys know I'm a big Dan Hooker fan, and that is pain to rewatch that fight. And yeah, he put on a brutal beatdown, put my boy in a stretcher, and sent him home crying. I pray that Sodiq Yusuff returns that same treatment back to Edson, and I can be a happy man and be smoking on the Edson Barboza pack, hopefully, pretty soon. But obviously, as I went over Dan Hooker, loses to Justin Gaethje. I to be honest, fairly to Edson, it was an eye poke, and then he got fucking smoked after that, so unfair. Kind of lost. Has the kind of robbery loss to Paul Felder. Same thing with Dan Ige. He wanted a bit of a resurgence at featherweight. Beat Marquand Americani. Beat Shane Burgos. Crazy fight. Crazy finish. And then lost to Giga Chikadze, Bryce Mitchell. Obviously, Giga, I picked that. That was a big. I kind of like, I told you so. I got a lot of people were picking Edson in that matchup. I thought Giga, better kickboxer, better credentials, and it just was one of those things is you have a credentialed, legitimate kickboxer fighting a guy that's a great Muay Thai fighter, but just a lower level echelon to him in the striking department. You got to go based on credentials. You got to go with Giga, and Giga got it done. And I mean, he looked really good, but I mean, Giga caught him beautifully in that third round. But he didn't punish Edson the way I want to see Edson get punished. And obviously, the Bryce Mitchell fight, we all know he followed the blueprint of Kevin Lee, Khabib, all these other guys that grappled him and put pressure on him, and he did what he was supposed to do. Now, Sodiq Yusuff, obviously, we've kind of talked about what he's accomplished, but I do have my concerns about picking Sodiq going into this matchup. Will he follow the game plan of wrestling? Now, if you go watch his fucking fights, he has some pretty good wins. Mike Davis is a really great win for him. Obviously, beat Shimon Rice, Gabriel Benitez, Andre Fili, Alex Caceres. Probably Caceres is probably his age to be his best one. Mike Davis is a really good win that he got on the Contender Series. Probably the highest level Contender Series fight. He showed really great power against Davis and really good timing, and he kind of beat Davis to the punch, and that's how he beat him. The Gabriel Benitez fight was a back and forth war, and eventually he smoked him, and he got him. He's always shown an ability to get hurt, and it's been kind of his Achilles heel, but in the Andre Fili fight, that's the fight I enjoy really, really watching, because when I look at what he did in that fight, I'm like, okay, he can grapple. And he was put in a position where he was getting out-grappled a little bit, And then he out-grappled Andre Fili to kind of win that fight. And, I mean, it was a close fight. I thought he won, but it is what it is. You know, ended up being his fight. But even against Arnold Allen, he got hurt, but he ended up wrestling that third round and actually winning that fight, even though he did get taken down by Arnold Allen early in that fight. My concern is he won't wrestle at the pace that I want him to wrestle. That's my concern. If you watch these fights, that he's not level changing at a pace I want him to level change. He's not shooting takedowns at a rapid rate that he needs to shoot at a guy like Edson. I need him shooting at least one takedown per round and having at least 2 minutes of top time and control to really ink out these rounds and potentially lead to a ground and pound finish or a submission or a finish in general or a decision win. And that's what I need. And he hasn't shown that. Even against Caceres, I liked what he did in there. I actually, compared to Caceres' fight with Giga, I thought Sodiq actually looked a little better against Caceres than Giga did. He disabled the lead leg, which I don't think he'll have success against Edson like he did against Caceres. But he wrestled him heavy in that first round, and then he abandoned it. He cannot do that with Giga. I need him at least shooting 3. Even if he doesn't get these takedowns, I need him attempting at a rapid rate. And that's how I think he can truly, truly win this. I think he's going to do it, because I do think his coaches know that that's how you beat Edson. I think anyone with a brain knows that's how you beat Edson. And I think he can. He's physical, he's big, he's young, and he's not durable, but he's also smart. That's one thing I like about Sodiq Yusuff. He's a smart kid. He's very intelligent. And he knows that's what he's gonna have to do. Yeah, you want to play the leg kick battle, go ahead. But I need clinch situations in this fight a lot. I need this guy backed up against the cage. I need you to take him down. And he has power, and he's gonna put pressure. Sodiq naturally fights like a pressure fighter. Now, that's how I think Sodiq's going to win this fight. I have Sodiq winning this fight via third round TKO, via ground and pound, and I have him whooping Edson. I have him shooting takedowns at a rapid rate, and I have him using his power to get closer to him and not giving Edson any space to create these explosive actions where he can get good knockout scenarios, you know? Am I concerned that can happen? Yeah, I do. But 37 years old, at this point in his career, where Sodiq is rising, and yeah, Edson has a win, but he's still in the decline, and that's just a fact. It's a fact of life. It's a tale as old as time. I think Sodiq Yusuff is going to fucking beat up Edson Barboza to a bloody pulp and finish that man in the third round. So that is my prediction. I think the wrestling is actually going to be the X factor, and I think he's going to surprise people here. And I wouldn't blame him for shooting these takedowns. I know some people might be mad at it, but you snooze, you lose. Learn how to wrestle Edson. And Edson can take as many steroids as he fucking wants to get super fucking jacked as badly as he wants. But you will get smoked, sir. So yeah, it is what it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, share the video. It's your boy eBay, and I'm out of here.
YouTube channel. I'm going to go check that out. And, hey, subscribe to eBay's Fight Prediction. Let's keep the eBay Fight Predictions Nation growing.